investigator Nate Salazar, who arrived on the scene just moments ago. Nate, what can you see?
Sherry, Siobhan, I am at the corner of Woodrow Avenue and Cedar Street in Lansing. As you can see behind me, police lights illuminating the area. And if we take a look, I'm counting about 7 squad cars right now surrounding a couple houses. We're seeing a slick layer of snow that's turned into slush on the roadways. The house that was run into by the suspect's vehicle took a lot of damage. After multiple caucus meetings and recesses, the Senate is finally back in session. And as you can see behind me, there are plenty of people waiting in anticipation of what the verdict might be. What do you do when a massive tanker like this holding hazardous materials spills over and dumps its contents? To protest Facebook comments that were made by the bar's manager, and they struck a nerve last night. They are calling for him to be fired so that they can reclaim the community space that they say is a staple. 25 years later, Roman's 1,500-pound Lulu Bell is now a permanent fixture of the museum. Where do people addicted to opioids get their drugs? You might think it would be off the streets or in a back alley somewhere. But what about in your medicine cabinet at home? These active shooter simulations are meant to get as close to the real thing as possible, with shooters placed in random rooms firing actual training rounds at the officers.
The airline just sent me a text too on the next delay. They just pushed it back even further, so.
Robin Weldon and Janet Darling have lived in Lansing their entire lives, and they're going to be here a little longer. Their Delta flight has undergone hours of delays after a cyber outage paused or canceled flights around the world. Their travel plans more urgent than most. Weldon's daughter is getting married.
Thinking we're not going to get there in time because we're going to London, and I got to walk her down the aisle, and I have one of her wedding dresses.
They are one of thousands of travelers grounded tonight as check-in and boarding services are down. The cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike says the outage was caused by a faulty update to computers running Microsoft Windows.
It is really impacting many IT systems, not only in the US, but across the world. From our perspective, this is not being treated as a cybersecurity issue. It was a system outage.
It wasn't just airports that went out of commission, but certain Speedway gas stations in Lansing bagged up their pumps. Both Sparrow and McLaren hospitals experienced delays, along with a few local businesses. Officials with Michigan's Department of Technology Management and Budget are urging patience.
We're doing due diligence behind the scenes to monitor the situation and get services back up and running.
As for this mother-daughter duo, even though it'll take some time, they're happy it's only delays and not cancellations.
I'm just so happy that the planes are going, you know.
Yeah.
You got to look at the bright side.
Just have to keep watching it and checking it, and it's going to be a couple of days before we get some sleep.
Opioids was a huge problem in there with fentanyl. Now we're on to methamphetamine. It's on the rise in the patients we serve.
Patrick Patterson is the executive director of Mid-Michigan Recovery Services. He's been seeing an increase in patients addicted to methamphetamine. According to the Michigan DEA, it's a trend happening across the state.
2023, we removed over 280 kilograms of methamphetamine from the streets of Michigan, and that's just the Drug Enforcement Administration.
600 pounds of meth, and that's just what law enforcement got their hands on. Where they're finding it is even more concerning, in the hands of younger people who don't even know what they're taking.
Pills that are being laced with methamphetamine, and these pills target a younger demographic, whether it's a fake Percocet or Xanax.
People thinking they're buying Adderall or so forth, maybe just getting straight meth.
Not to mention that it's much stronger. According to the DEA, they are seeing 98 to 100% pure meth coming from Mexico, and it's easier to get as drug dealers try to establish a foothold.
And get new customer base by getting them addicted to methamphetamine, whether it's slashing the price or just giving it away.
DEA officials have begun calling them drug poisonings instead of drug deaths. They say 7 out of 10 unprescribed pills contain meth, and you get better chances playing Russian roulette.
Drug-related deaths are now our third leading cause of death in the country. Third.
So the only pill that one should take is one prescribed by their doctor and obtained at a legitimate pharmacy.
Here for you in Lansing, Nate Salazar, 6 News. If you've ever been around Michigan's waterways, you may have seen this man. And if you haven't seen him on the riverside, you may have seen him on the internet. Meet Lansing resident Tanner Torres, aka the Michigan Magnet Man.
There's a lot of stuff that we pull out of the river that people would not even bat an eye at. They're like, oh, it's just trash, it's junk. But for me, it's something that excites me, and I like to repurpose things.
A hobby that led to his moniker. Torres started magnet fishing and posting videos of his catches online 3 years ago and gathered a community around his treasure hunting.
I've got about 450,000 followers. I think I'm up to 145 million views over the past 3 years.
I got the chance to fish alongside the master, and after my first cast into the Grand River, I pulled something in that Torres said was a magnet fisher's dream.
I'm gonna be honest with you, people come out here and do this for like years, like literal years, and they never find a gun. And that's like their key big ticket item they want. You found it your first throw, dude. That is awesome.
And the crazy finds don't stop with mine. Torres says he's found items that range from mortars to skeleton keys, license plates from the 1900s, and even model boats.
The most weird thing that I've ever found was a 1930s condom, still in the tin in Detroit. Had all of the original packaging inside of it still.
For Torres, cool finds like those are only a plus. Cleaning up Michigan's waterways, for him, is the greatest treasure of all.
We could spend weeks and weeks at these locations cleaning them out, and it's not going to be enough. Now we need to tell more people. We need to tell other people how to do this. We need to teach kids how to do this so we can get more people out there. It's just going to get more hands involved in cleaning up the earth.
Shots fired. Shots fired. We got a subject. We have an officer down.
It was a basic traffic stop. He was shot. It hit a little closer to home, knowing that we've known him for years, and he was one of the good ones, one of the good guys.
Londa Obi recalls walking out of her house yesterday on Beecher Road to a massive police presence. A Hillsdale County deputy had just been shot.
Departments from all over, local, Jackson, Lenawee, we had Lansing was down here. They came to action quick to get this guy off the streets.
The deputy killed 51-year-old William Butler Jr. Now, more than a day since the tragedy, members of Hillsdale's tight-knit community have come out in numbers to show their support for the married father of 3. Placing flowers and donating food to the office of the sheriff, and law enforcement even pulled Deputy Butler's car to the front and decorated it for everyone to see.
I have seen nothing but an outpour of love and kindness, and that is amazing. You don't expect something like this to happen.
A steady flow of flowers became part of a memorial that isn't done growing. Deputy Butler's picture rests in the dashboard. Obi, whose daughter just had the chance to ride along with Deputy Butler, says it's a reminder that evil exists everywhere, but good people will fight back.
Even in small communities, this tight-knit and stuff, it's happening more. I'm confident that this community will pull together in this time, and we're all here for his family. The whole community is here for the family.
Wrestling for an officer's firearm. It's something Genesee County Sheriff's deputies trained for today. A very serious situation that Sheriff Christopher Swanson tells me happens a lot in the field.
Kill me.
Put your hands behind your back or I'm going to tase you.
You have to kill me.
And happened just the other week in Lansing.
He's trying to get his gun.
Most of our confrontations that are physical are close quarters. That's when you have to maintain control and weapon retention. And we've experienced that. In 1999, we had one of our deputies that was disarmed, and that weapon was taken and used and killed 2 people in Chicago.
Now, once a month, rigorous simulations like these are meant to make sure that the officer comes out on top every time. That's a lesson I learned the hard way.
It's every cop's nightmare to lose their weapon. You're responsible for every bullet that leaves that barrel. And when you carry a weapon that can be used for deadly force, you're responsible for that weapon.
The training, based off of real scenarios that deputies deal with in the field. Sheriff Swanson says learning from mistakes and implementing them in training is vital.
We debrief every part of that scene. What we could have done better, what we did well, and what we need to do different. That's good policing, that's police evolution.
Here for you in Genesee County, Nate Salazar, 6 News. The latest update in school security systems is coming in the form of artificial intelligence, and Olivet Community Schools has made some big improvements just this past year. Instead of installing metal detectors, they say this is protection you don't even see.
School safety has to be on everybody's minds, and unfortunately with a lot of the stuff we've had around the country with the tragedies and things, it's a big focus for us.
John Mertz, superintendent of Olivet Community Schools, says this year his district is taking a proactive approach to security, upgrading severely outdated equipment, starting with their cameras.
We were having a hard time identifying, even close up, students or events that were taking place that we couldn't necessarily identify.
Now, they tell me it's hard not to notice things, using state-of-the-art cameras and artificial intelligence systems built in, all transmitting to a central hub that's not only accessed by teachers, but police as well.
Any administrator at any building knows how to operate the software, so if we're in a situation, we don't worry about who knows what and how to operate it.
The AI allows administrators to look up things like the color of someone's shirt or shoes and be able to find where they are in the school, while also constantly scanning and alerting police to the presence of firearms. Not to mention new key card door locks on every door inside and out. The security overhaul, funded by state grants, has even paid for a new school resource officer.
And as a parent of a student in the district, it's huge peace of mind because you realize he's around, he's there. It's the idea that if something did happen, he would be able to jump in right away. We are way further ahead than where we started in this project, and now that we have that entity in place, it's one less thing we have to think about in the event an emergency were to happen.
Similar AI technology was installed in the state capitol just last year. Here for you in Olivet, Nate Salazar, 6 News.